Can you tell us a little bit about what the platform of TikTok means to you and the kind of content that you're putting out there?
For me, it's like just being able to be creative because even though it is just showing your TikTok in a way you're making like a small film. So it's like you're putting the character into this set, like saying, this character is going through some bad stuff. I'm gonna make it my own and create it so that way they know this is how they're living. So like one of my characters I did was like a plague OC. So I made it to that setting where it's like the Black Plague to make it kind of like spooky. So it's not just here's my cosplay, there you go. No, it's just you're creating something to make this character come alive.
I have seen some of that. I've had cosplayers on my channel as well tell me about how they're creating original characters and creating a sort of series. And they're
Mhm.
using the engagement from their fan base to kind of dictate what sort of direction they'll go in. Like I have one cosplayer who was talking about how she had this character that she didn't really put that much thought into. She obviously did the work, but then the reception was humongous. And because of the algorithm on TikTok, when it hits, it hits.
Mhm.
And people are very welcoming on TikTok when it comes to like talking. Like obviously you're going to get some disparaging comments, but majority of what you get, at least now how the platform is people wanting to know more about this character and encouraging you to do more with this character and expand on them. So like you said, it's interesting that you can have a mini film with
Mhm.
TikTok, and people do appreciate that sort of artistic integrity, which you don't necessarily see on some of the other platforms that we've been used to.
Yeah. So like for Instagram, it's just taking the photo and that's it. Like, yeah, you have the background and everything. But doing it on TikTok and just showing, a small film about it is like amazing because you're showing more of what you know. You don't need to have like all these editing skills. It's luckily the way TikTok works, it's so easy to manage. So anyone can create something if they wanted to.
And I also try and tell people that TikTok is not just about dancing. It's not an app only for kids or
Mm.
necessarily even like hyper creative people. It's still in its infancy. So you can take advantage of what that platform is and really do a lot with it. I think it's kind of like how Instagram was 8 years ago or so when people were really starting to get into it. And I don't even know what direction TikTok will be in over the next couple of years. Just the fact that they've increased the length of their videos to 3 minutes recently, that's a game changer. And
It is.
I can't wait to see what people do with that.
Yeah, because it's most of the time people will put their works from TikTok to YouTube. Sometimes YouTube is a little iffy about the copyrights. So that's why I assume that's why TikTok decided to make their videos 3 minutes longer. And also it gives you more time to create, to do more scenes, to do more settings.
Do you think TikTok is going to overtake Instagram as the preferred platform for creatives?
It is a mix of like yes and no, just because like you can't really say Instagram is over with because it is one of the main platforms people use. So it could be at a competing state between the two of them.
I think that like you're right, but I don't know. I have a weird vibe from Instagram. Like they seem so focused on ads and making money, which they're a business. It's Facebook, I understand, but TikTok is blowing up, and their algorithm is the preferred algorithm right now for creatives. They have broken so many musical artists and
Oh yeah.
dancers and cosplayers. Like I know cosplayers that never went on the explore page on Instagram to see certain cosplayers, which is how I that's how I consume most of my cosplay content. Instead,
Mhm.
they do everything through TikTok, and for them, they're getting just as much, if not even more relevant information than what I'm getting from IG. And I really like that about TikTok because, as I said earlier, it's still in its infancy, but seeing what it's doing now in 2021 and where it was previously with Musically back in like 2017, 2018, I
Yeah.
can't imagine in 2 years where it's going to be. It's so incredible.
Yeah, and speaking of Musically, I also had my account back then. There were so many people. The community, cosplay community for Musically was so huge back then until it changed to TikTok. Everybody thought, oh, this is going to go down. Like it's not going to be the same as it was for Musically, but it took off. So seeing how it's growing so much these past few years, and you know how you said there's a lot of like cosplay creators who are going on the explore page or for you, it's it is more different than Instagram because for your cosplay photos, you hashtag it. You won't find a random person looking through that unless they go to the hashtag themselves. But for TikTok's algorithm, anyone can find it. I actually had a friend of mine. She knew I cosplayed and everything, but I never really followed her, neither did she, until one day she sent me a message saying, "Hey, I found you on my For You page."
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. I'm like, I know she's not the type of person to be interested in this, but she found me through there.
That speaks volumes of how powerful and unique that algorithm is, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
like you wouldn't really hear about an experience like that on IG or Twitter or many other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's amazing how much it can do for you.
As someone who didn't have Musically, but I knew about the platform and I had like one or two friends that were super into it. How is it different compared to TikTok? And did the rebrand help? Or is it just the name really that kind of made it more of like a pop culture thing?
I think the rebranding and the pop culture thing made it like more popular because back then, if you would think of Musically, you would just think it's all about dancing, like just a bunch of dancing videos, or it was the like the new Vine back then. But I think now it is so much different to Musically. So it has been such a huge pop culture. You see everywhere. There's like shirts that say TikTok or TikToker or all that kind of stuff.
I think that's also part of the reluctance for people within my age group, mid to late 20s, when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to hopping on TikTok because we grew up with Vine and
Mm-hmm.
Vine was blowing up with Twitter. Like when Twitter was going down, it picked right back up because of Vine. And I went viral on Vine a couple times. And for me, it was just such a cool thing because we had YouTube, we had Instagram and MySpace and all of these other platforms that didn't really do anything virally for us. But then
Mm-hmm.
Vine kind of started that whole viral thing. But as quickly as it came and made an impact on our consumption habits for social media, it disappeared. And for a lot of people, I know personally people who they didn't make a career, but they made a name for themselves through social media with Vine, and they were able to leverage that into other platforms. And when Vine disappeared, all of a sudden it's like, how do you adjust with the content? So
Yeah.
I can see the reluctance into trying to do something that's very like video based and something where you do have to commit yourself, like with TikTok. But I've also noticed with TikTok, when you do put in the effort, something is going to hit eventually. And even if you're not looking for like big views or like a huge following, you're still going to be able to express yourself artistically in ways that you haven't been able to do so before on other platforms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I when Musically was such a big thing, I wanted to create content. I had so many ideas. I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do that. But I never had the confidence to do it because, you know, how Musically was, it's like, oh, it's kind of cringy to do it. That's what backed me up from doing it. But now seeing TikTok was so popular, it gave me the confidence to go and do it. And it has paid off. I have like at least a few, like 10,000 followers. And I'm very grateful for that because I'm happy knowing that these people enjoy my work.